If you're fishing a Senko and not catching much, you're almost certainly fishing it too fast. Not reeling too fast, falling too fast. And the fix is this. Cast it out and do nothing for a full 10 seconds before you touch the rod. That's it. That's the whole technique. Here's why it works. Because once you understand what this bait actually is, you'll stop fishing it like a worm. Start with what's happening when you're getting nothing. You cast a Senko out, you let it sink a second or two, then you lift the rod, drag it a few feet, let it settle, drag it again, working it back the way you'd work any soft plastic. That feels like fishing. It feels productive. Here's the problem. Almost every bass that was ever going to eat that bait was going to eat it in the first 10 seconds while it was falling. Everything you did after that was mostly moving a piece of plastic around on the bottom. You didn't fish it wrong on purpose. You fished it like a worm. It isn't one. Gary Yamamoto developed the Senko back in the early 1990s, and the thing that made it different wasn't the shape. It's a plain stick of plastic. There's nothing to it. The difference is what's inside. The body is impregnated with a heavy load of salt, and that salt is there to control exactly one thing: the fall. Rigged weightless, a Senko doesn't nosedive. It falls horizontally, flat, level, sinking slowly, with a side-to-side shimmy running down the whole length of the bait. That shimmy isn't a happy accident of the design. That shimmy is the design. Everything else about the bait is a delivery system for it, which brings us to the reframe, and it changes how you fish this thing forever. A Senko is not a bait you retrieve. It's a fall you deliver. Sit with that because it reorganizes everything. The cast isn't the fishing. The drag along the bottom isn't the fishing. The fall is the fishing. Every second that bait is falling, you are fishing. Every second it isn't, you're just repositioning. And once you accept that, the mistake becomes obvious. Most of us spend about 15% of our time on a Senko actually fishing, and 85% moving it into place for the next 15%. So why is the fall so lethal? Two reasons, and they stack. The first is the shimmy. That slow side-to-side wobble on a horizontal fall doesn't look like a worm crawling. It looks like a dying baitfish. A shad that's given up, sinking flat, rolling slightly on the way down. That is the single most common thing a bass eats that costs her nothing to catch. She isn't being tricked into thinking it's alive. She's being told it's already dying, which is better. The second reason is the one from the last video. A bass inspects before she commits, and what she's waiting for is a reason to believe the thing can't get away. A bait falling slowly, horizontally, going nowhere, is the purest possible version of that message. It isn't fleeing. It can't flee. It's sinking. That's why a Senko gets bit by pressured fish that ignore everything else. It isn't clever. It's just honest about being helpless. Now, the mistakes that kill the fall. There are 3, and you're probably making at least 2. The first and biggest is weight. The moment you put a bullet weight on a Senko, you've changed what the bait is. It stops falling flat and starts falling nose first, and a nose first Senko cannot shimmy. The salt is still in there. The plastic is still soft. But the action you paid for is gone. You've turned a premium bait into a plain plastic worm with extra steps. Sometimes you need that weight, and we'll get to when. Just understand the trade. Every 1/16 of an ounce buys you depth and costs you action. But here's the part almost nobody talks about. There's weight on your bait even when you think it's weightless. Your hook is weight. A heavy gauge 5/0 flipping hook weighs several times what a light wire 4/0 does, and it hangs off the nose of the bait, which is exactly where you don't want mass, because that's what tips it into a nose-down fall. Your line is weight too. Heavy fluorocarbon sinks, and it drags the head of the bait down as it goes. Braid floats, and it'll hold the nose up. Same bait, same hook, 3 different falls depending on what's tied to it. So if you're fishing a Senko weightless and it still isn't producing, look at your hook and your line before you blame the bait. Lighter wire hook, lighter line, and that flat fall comes back. The second mistake is not letting it finish. A weightless 5-inch Senko falls slowly. In 8 feet of water, it might take 10 or 12 seconds to reach bottom. Most anglers give it 3 or 4, feel nothing, and start working it. Which means they cut off the fall right in the middle of the most productive part of the cast. Every single time. So count it. Actually count, out loud or in your head. Cast, and don't touch that rod until you've reached 10. It will feel like an eternity. That eternity is the entire technique. The third mistake is watching the wrong thing. This one costs people the most fish. On a falling Senko, you will usually not feel the bite. There's no thump because she didn't chase it down and slam it. She rose up underneath it and inhaled it while it was drifting. There's no resistance to transmit. What happens instead is your line does something. It twitches, it jumps sideways, or, most commonly and most missed, it simply stops falling. The slack quits feeding out a second or two before it should have. So watch your line, not your rod tip. Watch the spot where it enters the water. If it does anything unexpected, reel down and set the hook. Don't wait to feel it because you won't. That one habit, watching instead of feeling, is worth more Senko fish than any color, any hook, or any rod you'll ever buy. Quick thing before I get to the exceptions. If this changed how you think about the fall, hit the like button. On a channel this small, it genuinely decides whether other anglers ever see it. And if you're watching on your TV, the subscribe button is right under the video. The next one is on why fish bite and still don't get hooked, which is the other half of this problem. Now, when does none of this apply? Because it doesn't always, and knowing that is worth as much as the technique. Deep water and cold water. If you're fishing 20 feet down, a weightless Senko takes so long to get there you'll fish 4 casts an hour. Same in cold water, when bass won't move far to intercept anything. In both cases, weight it. You're deliberately trading the shimmy for the ability to reach the fish at all, and a perfect action in the wrong place catches nothing. Wind and current. If you can't keep a slack, watchable line, the whole line watching method collapses and you'll miss bites you were never going to feel. On a windy bank, either wait it to keep contact or fish something else entirely. Heavy cover and grass. A slow horizontal fall through thick vegetation just hangs you up in the canopy. That's flipping weight territory. Different technique that happens to use the same plastic. And actively feeding fish. When bass are schooling and chasing, a bait that sits there doing nothing is the wrong answer. That's a moving bait day. The Senko's entire advantage is patience, and patience is worthless against fish that have already committed. So here's the thing to take with you. The Senko doesn't catch fish because of what it looks like. It catches fish because of what it does on the way down, and how convincingly it does nothing. Which means the hardest part of fishing it well isn't skill, it's discipline. Sitting on your hands for 10 seconds while every instinct you have is telling you to do something. Cast it out. Watch your line. Count to 10. The bait's already working. You're the one who has to stop. Tell me in the comments, how long do you actually let a Senko fall before you move it? Be honest. I'd bet most of us are cutting it off somewhere around 4 seconds, and I did exactly that for years.